Hey everyone, what's up? This is Uri for Guerrilla Poker. Today I'm bringing you a high stakes hand played by two of the best, Nacho and MunEZ. With that being said, let's get into the hand. So, this hand is played 171 deep, 5100. Nacho raises from the cutoff to 2.4x and MunEZ defends the big blind. Because this is 5100, rake is lower, so ranges are going to be a little bit wider than you might be used to seeing at lower stakes. So if at lower stakes maybe you would fold something like 6-9 suited, pre-flop or 9-5 suited here, those hands would be called. Okay, so King 7-8 two-tone board. MunEZ checks and Nacho fires out with a 2/3 pot-sized bet. Now I always say how the bet size indicates something about the range construction. Here with a biggish bet, Nacho is saying he's actually not betting his full range. So we can expect hands like queen, pocket queens and pocket jacks not to be bet very often, while hands like maybe pocket nines, ace 8, strong kings are going to be in there quite a lot. So Nacho bets, MunEZ calls. The betting range still very wide, but like we said, not including too many middling type of hands. Turn 5 of diamonds, which brings in some draws, right? 6-9 suited and 6-4 suited now make straights. Keep in mind when we think about ranges, Nacho raised from the cutoff, so he doesn't have 6-9 suited or 6-4 suited in his range. He has 0 straights. MunEZ, who's defending the big blind, could have these. They would definitely have check raised some of the time on the flop, with spades probably most of the time, maybe with hearts as well. But he's going to have some of the nutted combos here. So MunEZ checks and Nacho fires out with a huge bet, twice the size of the pot, which MunEZ calls. And if we want to understand how can Nacho bet so huge given MunEZ has straights, I think the easy answer is, you count how many straights does he actually have. Because if the turn were a jack, MunEZ would have, up to 16 potential combos of 10-9. So huge number of potential straights even after check raising some of them. But here on the 5, MunEZ's range only has 6-9 suited and 6-4 suited, so suited combos. And some of these check raise, so we're talking roughly 5 or so combos of nuts. And this is kind of Nacho saying, if you have 5 combos of nuts, that's not enough to concern me. It's not enough to slow me down when I have a high up in my range hand, and I'm just going to fire huge. In terms of what's the value range for this kind of sizing, it's a big question. Like, are you going 2-pair plus? Are you going set plus? Usually the way these ranges should be constructed is that you are going something like top pair good kicker plus. So you would see Nacho doing this with like king queen or aces or ace king. And sure, he would lose to some 7-5, 8-5, king 5. He loses to some straights, but overall he is pushing enough equity to do something of this sort. So bet gets called. We have the deuce of diamonds river, a complete brick. And MunEZ checks, and here we would expect Nacho to probably shove with a decent amount of his range, his value range, and check back a decent amount. And what we see is Nacho actually going for a 75% pot-sized bet, which indicates he's doing some kind of split with his range on the river. Because certainly if he has a set that's strong enough to shove, once you get here like this, so he's sizing not for his sets. Can he go like this with aces? Is it a 2-pair sizing? It's tough to know always exactly where the threshold is. And the reason it's tough to know, despite all of us, both me and you guys, playing poker for a long time, is that there's always something unique about a hand, right? So this is cutoff versus big blind. We see the board, there are the turn straights, but not that many of them. And then there's a sizing pattern of 66% into 200%. How much is that narrowing the range down? This is not a sizing pattern any of us has likely faced many times in our careers. It's not a very, if the sizing is 33% into 150%, that's a very, very common sizing to see in today's online games, and most guys should know the reactions and the thresholds by heart. But here we're kind of stepping out of the comfort zone of most players, and then it's just tough to know where the thresholds lie, right? Because certainly ranges are much narrower when you go 66 into 200 than when you go 33 into 150. But yeah, Nacho goes for the 75, and MunEZ check shoves for, effectively 140 big blinds. Of course, this would fit with straights, and what else you go for value is a big question, and actually depends a lot on what Nacho is doing. So, if you input Nacho's strategy into a solver, and you give him only the 75% river size, MunEZ actually can check shove probably only straights. He has to be very, very tight check raising for value, because Nacho's size is going to have all the pocket kings, pocket sevens, pocket eights, king 8, king 7, etc. in his range. All the top of his range is going to be in there, so you can't really check raise. Maybe you can check raise ace, I'm not sure, but certainly not much weaker. However, if you gave Nacho multiple bet sizes in the solver, then hands like sets would more often go for a bigger river size, while the weaker parts of your range, which, like I said, I'm not sure if that's 2 pairs or maybe even some 1-pair hands, would go for the smaller size, and then you would be able to check raise actually wider for value. And this is a dynamic that happens a lot in theory, and once you're aware of it, when you get to the river in practice and you see your opponent make a size, the first question you ask yourself is this size indicating his hand strength? Or is this just the size that he picked for his range and he has one size? Or does he have multiple sizes for multiple ranges and all of them are being balanced? Which is very rare. The third option is actually rare, but less so at high stakes. So yeah, MunEZ shoves, Nacho called, and we see a showdown. MunEZ shows down king 5. Very, very surprising hand. I would say, given we're 170 deep, this is one of two things, and it's very, very likely MunEZ is banking on the fact he's disrespecting Nacho. He's saying, you know what, I think this range is gonna be mostly hands that lose to king 5. It's not gonna be protected enough. I think you would bet bigger with your bigger hands. So I'm going for hyper thin value, definitely not a solver play, very disrespectful, and you love to see the disrespectful play between regs. And then you have Nacho's hand, which is pocket 8s, which means, you disrespected the wrong guy. So I think pretty cool hand overall. It's not often you see 170 big blinds going in post-flop in a single raise pot, especially in 6 max in tight positions, right? The tighter the positions, the tighter the ranges are. And here we're seeing actually a dynamic that often happens, but you don't often catch people making these kind of disrespectful exploits. Now, of course, there are other options, like maybe MunEZ wasn't disrespecting Nacho, but he was just making a mistake. I doubt this, because this is, I'd say, very, very obviously a theoretical mistake. I doubt he would have made this as a blunder. And there's another option, which is, he was turning king 5 into some kind of crazy bluff to get king 7 and king 8 to fold. And I doubt this too, because I've seen MunEZ's hands over the years, and that's really not his style. He does not get super out of line in that fashion. I've never seen it happen in all the hands of his I've seen. So I think just a case of MunEZ, the old school boss, disrespecting Nacho, the relative newcomer to high stakes, and getting punished for it. That's it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed the hand. If you did, like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.